do it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Feels like a long ass time, that's for sure. But we are back with some more ACCL Super League action. There's been a lot of games going on that we've kind of missed out on, Pablo. But we're back again with the boys of Iniquity up against Vitalize, so an organisation who we are not exactly unaware of, shall we say. We've casted plenty of Vitalize games in the ACCL. Slightly different roster though this time for these lot than what we're used to seeing. But regardless, we're back. We've got Call of Duty on the screen. It's a shame it's not challengers, don't get me started, but this is pretty much the next best
Don't even
thing.
get me started on that either. Like, I've already got, like, you know, my bias towards challenges, but also towards the EU scene. Let's not get started on what they've done to watching our great EU sides just absolutely trounce the Americans in the opening few days, man. I'm devastated, to say the least.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to Mr. Nooney with the tier 1. 9 months, Mr. Nooney. That badge looks very nice on you. So thank you very much, brother. Hope you are well. But yeah,
if I was this far away from just sending a message to like Eric Boom or Super or someone and just going, listen, lad, just bang us and invite and we'll cast them from this end.
Yeah, literally. It's like, please, lads, just let us keep an eye on what you're doing, please. And Will with the big old biddy, so I almost said the wrong way around. Then thank you very much, mate. I wonder who came up with the kind of name for Iniquity. I don't know, Scott. I don't know. You'll have to tell us. But obviously, the Org de la Prezi. We've casted them a couple of times now, Pablo. Actually, the boys of Iniquity. They've looked very solid, haven't they? Obviously, both games that we've casted. I don't think they've lost in the group just yet. I will just double check because. The teams in this group, for Group B, guys, is Excalibur ESports, which is one of the teams that they did beat. Val Raven is the other team that they beat. Then obviously there's Black Square, GG, and then Vitalize now. So I think they beat Black Square, GG. I think they might have played, to be honest, if memory serves me well.
Is this is potentially other than maybe Black, well, no, maybe not Black Square. This is potentially their toughest game. Having a look at, no offense to any of the other players, like, but I think Excalibur have got like a decent side, but they were thrown together at short notice as well, weren't they? So that makes it difficult for them.
Yeah, I was going to say on paper that Excalibur team looked like the biggest threat, probably in the group. I would say, anyways, when you look at kind of the rest of them. But I mean, take nothing away from the rest of them. It's mainly because like Val Raven, we hadn't really seen a huge amount of. I mean, we've seen Black Square before, haven't we, with Vodrich, Rudy, Punker, and Storms. I think the last time we saw them play was actually against Iniquity, but obviously different roster with JNW, Dave, and those boys. And I think 3-0. I think it might have been a 3-0.
I think it might have contained one of the worst performances in ACCL history, but we'll say nothing about that. I think it was an absolute shocker there. I'm not going to say who it was, but I think it was what it is. But I think this is probably their strongest side that they've got a face that may. I'm not sure how long of these have played together, because I'm sure we've cast over Vital in a different side.
Yeah, I think Vital has pinged around a few teams. Quite a few throughout challenges. I think we've casted maybe a couple of times in Vanguard, but not a huge amount. Obviously, he was doing really well in Cold War, what I recall. I'm pretty sure it's the same Vital that was on the Katana Black roster when they were doing very well with Climate Vital. I can't remember who the other two were, but I mean, regardless, Pablo, of kind of the teams we've got in Super League, when you're starting off with a double Bocage and a Tuscan. You're thinking, right, okay, well, this is going to be pretty manic, and we're kind of used to the fast-paced Bocage. We've had our time off now. We're straight back in the deep end with two incredibly fast maps. Obviously, Tuscan, that middle-paced one, that flat bang in the center, and then kind of slowing it down with a double Berlin. So it's a slightly different map set. We're so used to seeing quite a lot of Tuscan, really, and an occasional Kabuto. But yeah, double Bocage, mate.
Mate, that is commentary hell right there. That is going to be horse racing style speed, and we've seen just how wild Bocage S&D still is. So no let up, and to be fair, going into a Tuscan control, that's not going to have time to catch your breath. If we do get to a map 4 though, Berlin Hardpoint and Berlin Search and Destroy at least give us an opportunity to start focusing on the strategy and not necessarily on the individual gunfights. So let's pray that we get that far, because I do think they have dropped one map in the 2 games we've cast over them. So a little bit of potential there, and I think this side has got the potential to maybe put them under a little bit of pressure. That is literally that's Chafin literally when he tries to cast Bocage on the play-by-play side of things.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it is a bit of a mental map. We've only seen a couple of occasions where we've kind of watched Bocage Search and Destroy, obviously since that bomb site has moved. I played it a little bit in ranked play, and a quick question as well. We'll address Will's question of this one, but at the moment it looks as though, I don't know how much you played it, Pablo, but that bomb moving outside, it's made kind of it's kind of changed a lot of teams' mindsets with regards to attacking. I think we'll see a lot more teams consider the B site, because that A site is kind of one where it's very, very easy to get picked off. You've obviously got the back tank area. You've got people that kind of even just hang around the corner and shoulder up the stairs where you can see the guy on the bomb. It's very exposed for a portion of the map, but it definitely feels as though it's made kind of the map a little bit more fluid in terms of teams rotating all the way around, or kind of just trying to work a different setup. We were so used to seeing people just sat in grannies, maybe one over B, and then kind of everyone else waits until somebody tries to push into A. But it's a slightly different approach now with that bomb sitting on the platform now.
Yeah, if anything, it's really odd. I know we haven't had a chance to cast it that much, and obviously still so early, and it's changed that you're not seeing very many settle strategies. But if anything, it's made teams more aggressive. If they do want to push A, they really do have to get bomb site control as early as possible. Whereas we used to see this kind of cautious median line where they would sit outside grannies, wait for a pick, wait for an opportunity, and then look to get the bomb down. And you know, again, when we get made to eat our words, I was still kind of under the impression that A bomb site would probably still get used. We go into the map, and B was genuinely a choice for some teams and for certain plays. It's still, I think, if anything, it's kind of balanced the danger from going to B. Is now the same if you go to A. You've still got quite that long portion of that left-hand side, whereas an attack as the defending side, you can get picks, you can get information. So it has kind of addressed the balance. I think, you know, they must have realised from early on that the trophy system not being there is just provided like an absolute killing room for that initial A bomb site, because if you tried to hide in there, get bombed down, you were prone to just getting destroyed by nades and stuns, obviously with the stuns being completely OP as well. It's just another kind of another level to the cake of death that was that A bomb site. So honestly, it's probably a refreshing change. It gives us an opportunity to talk about something different, but it's still going to be. One thing I would say is it does feel like it's paced up a little bit. It's faster than ever.
Yeah, it definitely feels as though there's kind of more opportunity for players to kind of try and play that initial pick without playing it really, really carefully. It feels as though players are kind of a bit more open to being aggressive, because they don't really have a choice. It's a case of when they've got to do it, not a case of if they've got to do it. But a quick question as well that Will in the chat was asking, Pablo. I don't know if you saw much of the major 2 games yesterday.
As soon as the Ravens got beat 3-0, I threw me toys out the pram.
I was going to say it. So Ravens lost, Optic lost. So those are currently 2 out of the top 3. Obviously, Optic seed 1, I think. And it goes.
See, that blows my story out the water right there, man. That Optic losing is like, listen, I'm a firm believer that the views are so important to the CDL in the States that every now and then they will tweak the latency settings from one side of the stage to the other. It has been a conspiracy theory that I don't just purport. I've spoken to amateur players at the top level and some that have gone on further, and it's like there is a bad side. For the Ravens to get beat 3-0 just completely boggled my mind. Like, they have got the quality in that side shouldn't be getting beat anyway, A, and then B, obviously getting trounced like that is just it saddens me. But then Optic going on to lose like just blows that theory right out the water. But again, it just shows you, I mean, again, it might just be that this is the majors do throw the cat among the pigeons from time to time. So I'm just going to focus wholeheartedly on challenges. Screw the pros. It's all about the EU this weekend, and all about, we need to see, it's either got to be Rocket or Toronto EU final with Sucre's Bakery playing against Vengeance in the round prior to that. You know, we just need to see a full EU teams, no Americans in the final. Screw them. They're out the water. They're not good enough.
Well, I think a lot of those NA teams might be thrown off at how good the EU teams are looking. It wouldn't surprise me if, obviously, the way the seedings work, you'd expect that, because the EU teams, they're pretty good seeds at the moment. I think Toronto Ultra, I think, might be 4th, I think, and Rocker maybe 7th seed, but the guys have got really good seeds in EU, or it might be
Rocker's second.
It might be Rocker second, Toronto 4th, and then Sucre's at 7th.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, those EU teams, I'm praying.
The Americans only getting top seed because they're on home turf? Because I'm pretty certain
it's because obviously where you've got the different regions, you've only got a maximum amount of pro points, so teams can only finish first in America, but first in EU. But obviously, America's got a lot of teams in it, so if they've got 10 good teams, you're obviously going to have those EU teams that finish top seed, probably going to be a lot higher than, say, the 10th one in America just because of how many teams they've got and the maximum
Listen,
amount of pro points they can get.
If I'm an American Challenger player, I'm just going to feel bad for myself and not turn up and just be like, yeah, the EU are going to do us, so just let's clap them from the side. I'm so biased, it's unbelievable. I really desperately just want an all EU final and that massive EU party at the end of it with just like pro EU, anti-American Call of Duty flags and t-shirts, the whole works.
It's a shame they don't have coverage of it, really, because I think that would have gone down a hell of a treat if they had even some form of coverage. They do have it on Saturday, but it's only top 16, so you're obviously going to see a lot of teams that are going to have upsets and fall out, and then next thing you know, they're out of it, and like God forbid we see one of the big teams in Europe drop out. It's like, oh man, you didn't even get to see him play. So it's one where we're really kind of praying that those EU teams really hit the ground running. Obviously they're not on home soil, not that it makes too much of a difference, but it would be a really big shame. Obviously they travel a long way to get there. They put a lot of time into the game, and then you have a couple of wavy maps. Next thing you know, you're out, and you couldn't even see the guys play. So I'm going to be frantically scrolling through Twitter.
I'm fuming over it, to be honest, mate. I am absolutely fuming. There is no shortage of people to cover that. Like, if they're having trouble at the event, there is literally, like, obviously the Hot Hands guys are going to be doing the main thing, but you've got Clutch, you've got Esports Engine, you know, weed chipping. Anyone can chip in and do this remotely, but it's more than that. It's just, like, infuriating. It's like, it makes me think of, like, the CWL as a golden age of Call of Duty. Your Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta streams, man, even for challenges, just being able to see all these games and watch them play, man. Franchising just feels like it's absolutely tore a little bit of the soul out of the sport, in the sense that, you know, we daily, you know, you would just want to see just how all, there's 96 teams, and we're probably familiar with maybe 8 of them. So there's like 80 odd other teams there that we could like learn about, that we could see big surprises coming out of, great new players that half of, you know, EU and America don't know about each other. Do you know what I mean? So a great opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the call of a lot of people to say, please give us more Challenger stuff. Obviously, they've now kind of introduced this event, which it does help light it up a little bit. You just think, could have just done just that little bit more. Obviously, like, look at us. I'm pretty sure we would have flown over there or anything. Like, I would have paid for my own flight to go and cover some of those 100%. Games. I mean, it's mental, like the kind of the support that people have at Challengers level. But we just don't, unfortunately, we don't really kind of get to see a huge amount of it. So we're going to be missing a lot of really good games.
Mate, you think about it, who's available to do that? You've got, like, aside from the UK guys, you've got, like, obviously Infinity and Enigma could easily go over there and do something for the Challenger scene. You've already got Shift out there, you've already got Seymour out there, you've got Proper, you've got McCormick, you've got all these great casters that are already out in the States that could cover all this for you. Shit, these guys would do the production for you as well.
Look at the whole Clutch GG team. Look at everyone that's involved in that. Producers, observers, casters, like, we've got the whole lot involved in that Clutch GG thing. It's such a shame that unfortunately there wasn't some sort of way to link it in, because you can see kind of all the people on Twitter that are like, where's the coverage? Where's the coverage? And Strider, thank you very much, brother. 7 months. What a gorgeous human being.
Imagine how much passion we're missing right now.
I'm pretty sure it's Strider that's in America. So he would have been over there and trying to help out. But yeah, it's one where you look at it and you're like, oh, man, like, if we just had a little bit more involvement to cover those games, even if it was just a couple, just at the first couple of rounds.
We should hit the lads up and just being like, get us in as an observer. No, they're not going to notice. They're not even paying attention. It's so funny, but it's made me fume a little bit. But at the same time, you can't get too worked up. There is going to be a spotlight on the challenges, and if it's
we got something. Oh, Pablo died. Oh no, is his Kong gone? Pablo's gone. Oh no. What's that, guys? I don't know where he's gone. On Discord. I think his internet might have gone. Let me double check with him. Has your internet died? Well, I'll double check with you guys. But we are pretty much getting ready for the Bocage hardpoint. And it's sod's law, really. Pablo's died when we've got the most action-packed map, and I need somebody to help cast with me. So I'm hoping he comes back very, very shortly, because for any of you who are jumping on board with us, we have got the boys of Iniquity ESports up against Vitalize ESports. Vitalize with a slightly different outfit than what we're used to seeing. Hopefully Pablo can revive very, very shortly. Hoping he's screen tab so we can keep an eye on it. But maybe Virgin has just... I think he's with Virgin, and a lot of people I know have a lot of issues with it. So anyway, on to the Bocage hardpoint we will go, guys. I mean, Iniquity ESports, boys of Vitalize. Double check. I haven't messaged them. Not replying. Assume Pablo's internet has completely gone kaput. But the show goes on, guys. We'll obviously wait for the gorgeous Northerner to come back to our side. But in the meantime, Vitalize ESports, Iniquity, map number 1 here in Group B of the ACCL Super League. And obviously, we're coming towards the later stages of these group games now. So a lot of these ones are going to be important for the seedings in towards those brackets. And we've got a couple of players that myself and Pablo, I don't think we've casted a huge amount of. Resi, I think it's Nevo and Kids. Obviously, Vital covered a little bit in Cold War, but haven't really seen a huge amount of him on this game. But obviously, we know the boys of Iniquity, especially Mr. JT, Kez, Troy, and Cruel. Very, very solid outfit, but it's a strong start right off the rip for Iniquity. Cruel is just going to be keeping an eye over the top of the point as he just tries to land on some shots there, but Resi's just going to rip him clean off that one in the back. You can see Nevo. Nevo, we'll go with Nevo all the way in the back. Now Vitalize just going to try and prioritize that rotation over towards P2. Yeah, Pablo's internet's died, guys. He's just confirmed it. So hopefully we can get him back very, very shortly. But it looks like the boys of Iniquity, they've now managed to win that rotation. So already Vitalize on the back foot. It is early days in Bocage. We know how quickly it can change. This kid is going to try and fly in towards the hill. Kez, though, reliable, going to manage to trade that one out. They've got to be careful of Vital, though, who is going all the way around the back. Is JT going to sniff him out? Yes, he is. Good work there from JT. And his teammates still going to be soaking up the time. Kez is just going to try and keep his head down. He has got help all around him at the moment, and they are really starting to push this lead out now. So a really strong hold on P2 in the early stages. Vanguard, we saw a lot of teams do well on P2, but it was one that suddenly teams were contesting quite a huge amount of time on. But the boys of Vitalize Esports, they weren't even able to get any sort of real time on that hill. You can see JT is going to soak up remaining time. Now getting ready for the rotation, but they've got an issue because number 5 in Cruel, we've seen him do so well for this team, is in the back and manages to rip the head off of Kids straight away. So you can see Resi already looking to try and run towards the back to try and sniff him out as well. And it's a big kill there from Resi just to try and secure the back. They've still got Kez, though, lurking nearby. And JT's going to take Resi down. So the spawns in the back are going to come through for Iniquity. And now it looks as though it's going to be a chow coming through from Kez. There's one for him, and they clean up pretty much everyone. There is still going to be a man in Vital left on the steps, but it's going to be JT that mops him up, and Iniquity punch their way straight back in towards the hill. And wow, this time is really getting pushed out now. Cruel, Kez, Destroy, all combining for 3. Vital's the only man even close to the contest, just frantically checking all the corners, but Kez just hiding behind the door, isn't even going to spot him. Manages to grab the pick, and now the spawns come through. How many more can Kez get? Nope, no more for him as Kez falls, and Kids manages to grab a nice little 2-piece there for him. Again, the trades coming through for Iniquity. They look very, very efficient, this team, in terms of slaying on some of these respawns. And Vital going to put a stop to that straight away. And nice shots there from Cruel. Big couple of kills coming through. Resi in the back is going to get cleaned out as well. And the Nevo already looking towards that rotation. But again, it's just red arrows over towards the Barn Hill. But big kill coming through from Vital. And he does spot JT on top, and another couple of kills coming through for him and his team. So Vitalize just steadying a little bit. They've still got those red arrows spawning in the back, so they're going to have to try and clean them out very, very quickly. And they do still get the man on the hill, but it looks as though they're going to try and hold it from this less preferred side. So we'll see how well they can manage it. JT going to fly around the corner. There's one for Mr. JT, just frantically trying to search for more. And there's another one for JT. Can he get the third onto Vital? His teammate helps him out. And that's going to be another full-man wipe there for the boys in red. Vitalize still trailing by 60, but a big kill comes through there from Nevo. And now with the remaining scrap time, Cruel somehow manages to chew his way through 3. Oh, Mr. Prezi with the gifted sub to the goob. Thank you very much, Prezi. Hope you're well, brother. Cristiano Ronaldo. Sui. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. So, 60 points in favour of Mr. Prezi's team. At the moment, Vitalize really need to try and hit a regain here, because at the moment it just feels as though Iniquity can just opt to kind of slow down the pace of the game, rotate early. That's exactly what they've done again on this hill. And Cruel is going to try and keep an eye on anyone transitioning through the middle of the map. He does spot Nevo, but there's another kill that comes through for him. And at the moment, really, him and Vital, kind of the only lads really supporting in terms of kills. Nice work there from the boys in blue. That's a lot better there from them. They clear up pretty much everyone. There's no Resi. Try and work his way in as well. I'll see if I can get Mr. Pablo back on the mount. Pabs, you are there. Hopefully, get Mr. back. Meanwhile, I'm going to say...
Mate, I've been here all along!
Can you say all right, yeah? Is it all good?
Give me a second. Have you accepted?
No, I have not. That will help. There you go. You should be in now. Do you see it all?
Why, it's Call of Duty!
There you go. Well, I mean, you've missed Iniquity at the moment, mate. They're doing probably what I suppose you'd expect them to do, really, in terms of killing out. And, you know, when JT's starting to fry on respawn, it gets a little bit dangerous, and that's exactly what is pretty much happening now.
Mate, kids, though, with that Portuguese internet, 9 and 19, this is the I'm not going to say self-proclaimed, because I don't think he is, but best player that Portugal have produced, and right now not doing the goods for the boys for Vitalize ESports, who are used to having a really strong roster. Vital, though, again, you know, this is only our second time casting him, but he's going off. You know, he did this last time. I don't think it was to much avail, but right now, 64 to 141, major Iniquity, and JT in particular, he's got that vibe again, like the start of the season vibe that he was frying everyone, and I think this is JT finding his final form.
Yeah, I think it's just a case for JT of getting a consistent team, because you know what he brings to teams. So
yeah,
good to see him get a good run of games, and his team now really showing for it. But nice work there from Vital. A couple of kills come through. We'll fly out onto JT, but he's going to be the man, unsurprisingly, who does shut him down for his 22nd kill destroy. Not too far behind him though at the moment. You can see Kez currently just soaking up the hill time, doing what he needs to do, as Vitalize is going to try and frantically maybe work a pinch here, and I don't think they're going to manage to see that a couple of players are still spawning up in the back. There's still 30 seconds left of this time at the moment, Pablo, so although they're only down by around 60, and you could argue that Iniquity, they haven't really got it done just yet. I mean, the more this lead slowly edges its way to 200, the more worried you're going to be. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, it's the same conversation you have when you kind of get to that 170, 180 mark. You only need to take a handful of seconds from what will be very, very quick hills. But 60 seconds still eminently doable. You think if this was a Gavutu, you would not be writing them off, because you string a couple of hills together and it's a completely different game. Right now, though, I just get the feeling that with Vital being the only player, maybe with Nevo as well, who are getting any kills, they're not capturing any time, so they're not going to maintain that momentum, which is a problem. And when you've got Kids and Resi trying to get time but getting blown out of the hill every single time, not able to hold it, then it's a problem. And at 173 to 81, we're approaching that 100-second deficit, major, and that is absolute guns right there from Cruel. And baby, there's pizza in the microwave for you.
Yeah, really good work there from Cruel, the man that's been very, very good for this Iniquity Esports roster. So we haven't casted a huge amount of him, but he looks to be an absolutely incredible player as he goes on a 5, flies out the corner onto Vital for the 6th. He's not going to get it, so he won't edge his way ever closer towards that infamous glide bomb. The boys, though, are Vitalized with 15 seconds still remaining on this hill. You definitely could argue that they need to try and at least get a contest on here. And Rezi's going to desperately try and check the right corners. He is going to try and get the contest spot, but nothing comes of it. Kids is going to try and get involved as well, as he's going to try and chase down JT, but nothing comes of it. They do have the rotation over towards the next hill, but man, they need pretty much a perfect hardpoint game from this point on.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than perfect. It's going to be required. They really do need those two players who are trying to gather time to just really step up, because Vital is doing, I mean, he's doing as best as is possible in terms of being around the hill, getting those kills. And they're just not able to hold time effectively from the outset. They haven't been able to get into the rhythm of the game. They finally got that initial control of a hill, but it's just so easy for to get the contested. And, you know, when you consider how much Kez can fry, he's on 15 and 23. But look at that time, 1 minute 27 for the boy in red, and a 213 to 101. They finally breached the 100-point mark, which, to be fair, you know, 20, 30 seconds ago wasn't looking like a possibility. And we talk about how easy it is. If you get a couple of kills and get a little bit of confidence, then this game can swing completely round. But at 213 to 109, I think they've left too little too late, and there's way too much quality in this Iniquity side to let this slip.
Yeah, this is an important kill as well for Nevo, and he does manage to take Kez down to 7 in a row, 8 in a row. Nice work there from Nevo. I hope he's not Nevo, because he'll hate me for it, because I'm going to call him Nevo and go with it. But regardless, big kills coming through. But again, Iniquity, they're still lurking around the hill. We flag this up as teams that are very, very good in respawn, just kind of holding on, even with one player just lurking near the hill to at least get the contest in. But they are going to finally clean everyone out. You can see there, Crawl's going to flood through the middle of the map, but they are pushing out these lanes quite aggressively at the moment, Vitalize, and they're getting a big amount of time to show for it. Rezi's going to pick up yet another couple of kills. So with 35 seconds remaining on this, if they get pretty much the full hold here and potentially a strong start to the next hill, Pablo, well, they've done exactly what we've asked them to do, really, in terms of pull that lead back.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what we say. You string a couple of hills together and this is a different game. Well, they've done just that. But not only have they challenged effectively in the middle of the map, they've managed to retain that small amount of control, probably a little too early in terms of the middle part of this P5. I think they really needed to start to look to push out for control of P1 a little bit later. This might prove a little bit difficult for them to get back control of that at 164 to 216. Major, they have done an absolutely brilliant job of making a game of this Bocage. And we've said this, I mean, this has been the kind of trademark feature of this map is that the game is never really written off. We've seen too many close calls, timeouts, everything that you could probably imagine in this situation. But right now, Iniquity just get the control of P1. It is going to remain contested. They are looking again to try and get control of that P2, and we can see at the back there, Kez, indeed, 15 and 30, double negative, but that solid 1 minute 31 in time offsets that quite dire performance in terms of KD. JT on the hunt for players pushing forward, and again, they're not just getting a little bit of the scrap time there, the 20 scrap time, what am I even talking about, 22 seconds, but they've still got control of P2, so potentially just the nail in the coffin almost for the boys from Vitalize.
Yeah, this is the difficulty. When you goes to P1, you normally expect teams to get maybe 10 seconds to 15 each minimum for the amount of carnage that goes on, but again, these next kills are going to be big now for Vitalize. They really need to get them. There's one from Nevo. The trades come through. Vital's still going to be standing in the back as well. And they do have control, at least for the time being, of the hill. They've got to be careful, though. Destroy in the back. Is he going to check the right angle? Destroy with a big kill. Takes him down, and all of a sudden, Kids is going to be last man standing in towards the hill. He needs help from teammates quickly. Number 4, Nevo's not going to get there in time. And now they're just going to flood him out. And that's exactly what Iniquity Esports needed to do. They threw the bodies at the players that were remaining. Kez is just doing exactly what he's done pretty much all game, keeping his head down on the hill, just soaking up the time. And now with 5 seconds remaining, this map is pretty much looking done. I don't think anyone is going to touch the hill with 2 seconds remaining. And Iniquity take the first hard point, Pablo. A pretty strong performance there from those boys. 250 to 196 in the end. But Vitalize, they came into it a little bit at the end, but they just gave themselves a little bit too much to do.
Man, we've seen this story written before, though, with an Iniquity roster that just gets a little complacent towards the middle section of this particular map. We've seen them nearly throw it away before. In fact, I think we've seen them do it on a Gavutu. So, Vitalize, they took advantage when they could. Look at those interactions just from Robbie Nevo and from Vital alone for Vitalize. That is insane amount of kills. I think we're talking like 41 kills for Vital and 36 there for Robbie Nevo. That is a huge amount of kills. And then you look at their interactions, that is insane for a team that were at one point almost 100 points down. Again, on the other side of Iniquity, though, when you've got JT in that kind of form, backed up by a Kez who's willing to go negative to get the time, that's a problem right there for teams. They're going to be coming up against sides who are going to expect them like Kez to go off. Kez has got so much capability that he just decided, you know what, I'm going to sit, and I guarantee those 15 kills, a lot of those will have been defensive kills or breaching. That is insane plays right there from that team.
That's the thing that I think a lot of teams essentially overthink on Bocage, is because of how fast-paced it is, it can sometimes be difficult to obviously lock down hills and just kind of stay still. It feels as though you've got to be moving at all times, because there's always going to be somebody who's maybe working a pinch or trying to get good timing on some of those players. But we have seen a lot of teams before where they've actually managed to command quite a lot of those P2, P3s without moving a huge amount. Obviously, we saw at the end there, Kez was pretty much just allowing the rest of his team to kind of just do the work around him, and obviously getting those important kills on the hill. Obviously, the final ones towards the end, they're just making sure that nobody can't even get in and contest the phone. It felt as though that's kind of what Vitalize lacked a little bit, was some of those hills just kind of even just getting a man onto contest. It felt as though they were constantly on the look for players and trying to hunt them down. That it made it difficult for them to even get near the hill at times.
Yeah, and again, you're right about this kind of static play in those, in particular, those 2 hills. P3, it looked like Iniquity was stacking P3 almost, so that when players come in almost on their own, they're just going to get dealt with, because they're never going to get the right corner. Even if they get a player, there's another player there to take care of them. And obviously over towards P2, again, just the problem with Bocage for me is, you could take a map like Gavutu or Berlin, you could go behind and really get control of the next hill quite effectively, because you can just chalk the old one. With Bocage, it's more of a rhythm. You've got to get back into the rhythm of the game, a lot like Apocalypse was in Cold War. As soon as you lose that rhythm, your entire game and focus and how you approach that game strategically can completely go. And while the other team are absolutely fine but rotating correctly, breaking correctly, holding really well, you can lose an enormous amount of time. And we saw it there, 100 seconds almost down. It ends up being a 50-60 point game, which is not that much of a surprise in a Bocage, but yeah, they too little too late again, but we've seen this before with the Iniquity boys. They get a little complacent towards the end of maps that they're controlling.
Yeah, and it definitely felt as though, again, JT, we've seen him a few times now in some of these respawns. We expect it more so from him in the search and destroys, but at the moment in respawn, he's looking very, very good. And his team with kind of Destroy as well, another player who we flagged up as being able to have that ability to put up big numbers, and kind of a man who plays I believe he was playing that AR role. Obviously not an easy map to do it on. He's managing to put up some big numbers in respawn for this team. It looks as though the kind of the firepower for Iniquity at the moment, it just seems very, very good across the board. Whereas kind of when you talk about some of the other teams, obviously Vitalize at the moment, Vital was doing well in stages of that game, but it just felt they kind of had a little bit too much to do before the end of the series, before they kind of really got going. It felt as though Vital was kind of carrying a lot of the weight in the early stages of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Vital and Resi in the end were getting a lot of kills, but just no support there from Kids and Robbie Nevo. And they just need to, this is an opportunity for them to bring this back. This is still an insane map, regardless of the change in bomb sight. If anything, it's probably gone a little bit more ludicrous. But I think the team attacking Vitalize really need to be a tad more aggressive. I've seen successful teams just try and get control of that B site. Another thing as well, this used to be quite a controllable map if you got one pick. Now I do think you need 2 picks. And speaking of that, Kez is going to get the first blood. He is going to drop a Resi, and that's going to give the advantage to the team in defense.
Yeah, so Kids, charge a bomb. Godly timing here up top. Really going to spot JT. Good work there from Kids. Manages to get his way in towards the top part of the map, but now Cruel. And he managed to work some magic himself. Bomb is going to go down from Kids, but now you're just waiting for those players to potentially fly out. Kez is just waiting. And surely he's going to be spotted outside. Is he going to fly through? He's having a little bit of a difficulty with that barrier as Kids is going to just dip inside. Going to hop on the defuse as well. It's kind of a little bit of cat and mouse at the moment. They're trying to just track down one of the players, but Kids again. Another important pick comes through for him, and there's a second for Kids as well, who just chews through both Kez and Cruel. And now all of a sudden, Pablo Destroy, last man up, and he's being absolutely leathered with bullets. And there you go, round over. Good work from Vitalize.
Well, bring back what I said before. The Portuguese phenom decides to take it up a notch and get good in S&D. Massive 2 kills right there, nearly gets the 3rd, and again just goes to show that you get a couple of picks and you're able to get that bomb down. And again, you've got to ask the question, Major, should Kez have completed that defuse? Was there enough time for him to potentially just stick it and just get the defuse in? We'll never know, but it's 1-0 to Vitalize Esports.
I think that's always the beauty of Codcaster, isn't it? It's just like, just stick the defuse, but obviously we can't really see it, but good work there from Vitalize. Good strong round off the rip. Now look at this heavy hit over towards this hut side. Again, Kids, his 4th kill in a row. Just got the ace in that last round. Not for the help of teammate Vital, just pinching that 4th off of him, but again, or is he going to spot Kez inside hut? He is, so he's going to tag him up a little bit. The info does come through that there's some players there. Nevo is just going to be watching over the top, but Iniquity, they're just playing it patiently, Pablo, and now it's just a case of where do they go, A or B?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tricky one again. We're seeing this heavy medium push where they're trying to get control of middle ground and get a pick, but it's proven really, really difficult. You can see the blue arrows just starting to back up. They realize that potentially they're going to be able to, look at that position right there from Kids. He can quickly push over to A if he needs to. He's got a little bit of information there if B gets it done. And again, that caution, Vital with a huge kill though as he gets that information through. Cruel's going to back things up. Right away, it's going to be 3 versus 3. We do see Vital get traded out, and that's going to give Iniquity the advantage again. But, mate, just as I say that, we're going to see JT fall. So a 2v2, and we're at the 22-second mark. Minutes? Where am I going?
No, they've got a long time to pick a bomb site with 22 minutes. But Destroy, is he going to check the right corner? Kids is in the corner, and never mind. Destroy just flies round at him, but now Resi takes the man down. You can see Cruel just going on the hunt. Is he going to try and stick this bomb? He's going to try and maybe bluff him out here. Just toying with him. Up and down he bobs. Cruel, though. Got to be careful. Might have a nade land right on his forehead in a minute. He is going to dip out. Now, he gets some good timing and good positioning on this man in the back. He is surely going to spot Resi. Auto out. Locks and... Oh, no, he's only got 2 bullets in it. Oh, no, that's why he's not going to want to watch back. He's going to try and dip out, and Resi's going to punish him for it. So, unfortunately, there... Oh, some cheeky body shots to go with it, as Cruel, unfortunately, only has 2 bullets to work with.
Oh, you see, it's these little margins we talk about. The very, very top players are going to have like one eye on the map, one eye at all times is going to be on the is going to always be on that kind of like ammo amount, and they're going to know. But again, it's a tense part of the game. They're already 1-0 down, and Cruel just assumes that the bullets are going to be there to do the job. Again, probably should have just waited them maybe after that point and just let the player come a little bit closer. But again, 2-0 to Vitalize and Mate. We are seeing already a nice response from the boys in blue. Yeah. It's what we wanted to see. We talked about that map 4, that change of pace, and hopefully they're going to be able to give it to us with this performance so far. Right now, Never won an 0-2, but he's been solidly carried there by Kids and Vital and Resi as well, playing really, really well. Man, surprised at the round so far, though. JT, not off the mark. Someone who we've always talked about being a great S&D player. At the minute, he's an 0-2, but expect those scorelines expect those kills to change fairly soon.
Yeah, Kez is going to get spotted. Does have a teammate on his left here inside, but Kez is going to get caught out with the nade. He's going to fall, so first blood goes in favour of Kids. And Vital's going to pick off Destroy out the back. So now the remaining 2 players in Cruel and JT, they're going to try and maybe work something here. Cruel is just going to fly out towards the middle of the map. So manages to make it a 2 versus 3. Evo as well inside. Hart, is he going to get the kill? He's tagging him up profusely, but he's not going to get the kill. And now JT, still awaiting his first kill, is now going to be required to work a 1 versus 3.
Man, that was really poor. I don't know whether you're going to stay exposed, but Cruel remains exposed in the middle and gets traded nice and effectively, just gets baited out. JT with a bit of poor timing. He does manage to see the player's head. It's going to give him the opportunity to potentially push through. He's got to do this quietly, though. He does, unfortunately, bag the door. He knows that it's going to be going down to B, but with 3 players on the hunt, it's going to be extremely difficult, and that is a little bit too far for JT to push. And it's going to be 3-0 to Vitalize Esports. This is, you know, you would argue almost the same as a 100-point lead, and Hardpoint right now 3-0. Great place from the team in blue, and Major more than else a really nice regain and bounce back.
I was going to say, they've looked pretty much faultless at the moment, Vitalize. They're just playing it patiently. They're getting the first picks at the moment, really starting to put Iniquity through their paces here. So kills coming through for Vitalize. First bloods. Always feels as though Iniquity been on the back foot pretty much every single round so far. So we'll see if they can manage to work a first blood and maybe try and get a bomb down at the moment, because we haven't even seen one planted in the opening 3 rounds, Paolo. We spoke about kind of that game changer in move in the A site. It's definitely made it a little bit more difficult for some of these guys to get the bomb down, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still the preferred, I would say, bomb site just because of that immediate push down that left-hand side. But we are seeing players more and more and teams more kind of push over to B and try and get information. But Resi and Kids prove exactly why it's still a very difficult bomb site. B, I would suggest, is more difficult, and it's going to be an absolute slaughter there. Mate, I'm not being funny, but in Iniquity Esports are usually awesome at S&D. They're absolutely being made to look like, well, to look less than amateur at times. That is a huge wipe right there from the team in blue. And indecision, maybe indecisiveness. They look like they were going to A, look like they decided to transition to B, and then they get caught hoofing it back to A. Man, you got to make your mind up before you start the round where you're going to take that bomb.
Yeah, again, it just feels like they're looking for the first bloods in Iniquity. They're just not getting them at the moment. Vitalize are giving them absolutely nothing to work with. Vital now 5 in a row. If he gets streaks, it might potentially be curtains. Pretty much, it feels as though before this map's even really got started. So there's 1 kill though for Destroy. A lot better, much better from him as he manages to knock down Kids. They've still got to deal with Vital though, and they are just playing this patiently once more. You can see Resi got info that there is going to be a man in Kez down this side. Kez is going to try and... Oh, he's got to be careful, though. Potentially over-peeking something he doesn't necessarily need to. And he's got to be careful because a nade is going to land right on his head. And that's exactly kind of the way this Search and Destroy has been going for Iniquity. It felt as though they had the advantage in the round. Potentially didn't really need to overchow something. But saying that, it's now going to be Vital, last man up. And these next 2 kills are important.
Mate, I mean, people don't extol your observing skills nearly enough, but that was a beautiful piece of observing as we watch that nade get cooked and then explode on Kez's head. We're right there. That is going to leave Vital in a 1v3. So despite the rather spectacular death from Iniquity Esports, they have got 3 players, 27 seconds left on the clock. And he's still got bomb, and again, just proving difficult. He manages to get 1, but that's going to allow the team really to know that there's a player potentially pushing to B. They have decided against transitioning, but they're in a pretty decent position to get some info. He does get tagged up. Vital is going to get stunned. That's going to be a nice round on the board from Iniquity Esports, despite Kez's spectacular death. But Major, it's a 1 round on the board. We did not expect this, a 4-1, a 4-0, I would say.
Yeah, I'll say if you need a regame round, that's probably where you get it, because they take Vital off of streak, so they know he hasn't got any sort of glide bomb to work with, and they finally get their first round on the board. So we'll have to see now whether the boys of Iniquity can try and keep this momentum going here. JT is finally on the board. a couple of kills, but Kez still struggling with one. And Evo at the moment, he's chilling. He's got his feet up. He's got his popcorn out. The boys are doing all the work around him at the moment. So now, Vitalize, are they going to... Again, there's another bit of a struggle for Iniquity and just grab that first blood again. Cruel. Going to get tagged up, but they have managed to get JT inside 8. It's just going to be a question of can they get the bomb down. Oh, there's a potential kill. There's one for JT. Good work as he manages to bag his third in 2 rounds. They're just going to potentially spam that bomb site. You can see Kez is just waiting for the right time pretty much to get the bomb down, Pablo. But it feels as though any time is a good time, really. But it's so difficult when you've got that man all the way at the back tank. You feel as though they've got to try and clean him out first, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other problem you've got is that your kind of attention gets so focused on getting the bomb down at A that you start to miss out on protecting and potentially just checking how exposed you are in other areas, and then you get dropped exactly like that. And this is why this new A bomb site, especially in the defensive mind, you know, if you've got that back tank control and if you've got a really good AR on the back, Robbie Nevo proven just how capable he is, it makes it so difficult to get that A bomb site controlled, even if you sat on the A bomb, which is, it's wild to think about. But again, lack of trophies means that you're constantly tentative about getting naded and stunned.
Yeah.
So plenty again, but it's a wild thing. 1 round away from a 6-1, you know, after that huge Bocage hardpoint. Again, this map just tells us how wild these games can be. It's just throwing the cat among the pigeons one more time. Oh, Cruel
Doing cruel things. Takes down both Resi and Vital in quick succession there. A bit of a very, very overzealous attempt, really, at trying to get some form of bottom granny's control. They just threw themselves at him. Manages to bag both of them pretty much for free. So now it's going to be a 2 versus 4 here, Nevo and for Kids. Going to check the right corners, though. There are a couple of players here. You can see Kez going to dip out again like he did last time. He is going to get spotted and tagged up. Is he going to try and retreat out? He is. Nevo's going on the hunt, though, and he manages to dip away here, and he's got some help and destroy in the back. So surely you feel as though this kill is probably inevitable. At some point, spotted has been, and this could be a big moment here if he can get to this site and at least take 1 man down.
I mean, how has he not been spotted? That's insane. And he gets a kill. Robbie Nevo with the big brains play there. I was about to say it's probably not the best move. He's got to be expected to push through tunnel, but gets the kill, and that is wild plays and major. This has gone from being a meh kind of round where they just chance their arm a little bit of potentially being able to get that A-bomb site down, just throw a round away, to where they're basically in control, managed to get control back. But this Kids again goes off, and in a 1v1 right now, Kez 2 and 6, Kids 8 and 2. You have to say, other than time, that is potentially the only factor that's going to keep Iniquity in this game. A round that it looked like Vitalize were going to throw away as a let's try and get this done. It goes the way of Iniquity ESports, despite the heroics of Robbie Nevo. Yeah. And a 5-2. Iniquity is still in it, but you would suggest that a little bit of cautious play, a little bit of sensible play from the team in blue is going to see this game out.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a skin of your teeth kind of round that one from Iniquity. Managed to stay alive and keep their head above the water in this map. If you guys did miss map number 1, it was a fairly comfortable win for Iniquity ESports on the hard point, 250 to 196 on Bocage. So now go into round number 8 in the search and destroy, and again it's another really heavy push of bodies from Vitalize over towards his A site, and a couple will fall. Nevo again with another couple. Kids is going to drop Crawl and now destroy it. Last man up. 1 versus 3 to keep his team alive, and this is not going to be easy. Those blue arrows, they are going on the hunt, and it looks as though Kids might get some really good timing here. If he spots him, doesn't. Somehow, Destroyer's managed to get his way through the whole net.
Mate, he has chosen the only route that would potentially have got him away. That is quite something right there. Destroy manages to kind of piece together the maze that the boys in blue had set him. But again, the hunt is still on, and we know 1v3 clutches at the best of times are difficult, but keeping your team in a round. Has he seen that player, though? I think he can see the gun. And again, just not left with enough of the person to be able to see. Information has been gathered, and they're potentially going to know where he's going to cross. This could be curtains for Destroy. It's not impossible with 28 seconds. As I say that, he gets absolutely gunned. Information gathered, and they're able to see it out. Major 6-2 from that first hard point is what we call a massive regain, and we're going to get that map 4. We are going to be heading via Tuscan to Berlin as we continue this global tour of Call of Duty.
Well, I think we're going to start christening it the Vanguard regain, because how many times have we seen a hard point where one team looks pretty comfortable and then all of a sudden the other team just slaps back with a win on the other one? So Vitalize, they are going to tie it 1 apiece now, but good work from those boys, Pablo. They look a lot more comfortable in that search and destroy. They looked as though they had a really good team understanding of kind of what they were doing, and which is surprising to see from Iniquity because it felt as though that was pretty much the opposite, and they didn't.
Oh, they were made to look foolish there at times. We had sort of complete four-man wipe. We saw a lot of indecision. Now, Boca is obviously not the easy... It's not the most straightforward S&D map. I think people would potentially prefer Tuscan. Even to an extent, Berlin has very set strategies which you can take advantage of. But we saw right the way through that game, portions of Iniquity's kind of, especially on the attack where they're looking to get bombed down, they just look completely indecisive. If they didn't get that first blood early on, the kind of game fell apart. Whereas I think over on the other side of Vitalize ESports, not a massive amount of strategy, but what they were doing was getting first bloods. When they were getting into fights, they were trading really well, and they had a couple of players able to get 1 and 2 pieces, and in some cases 3 pieces, and all of that, you know, married together is going to give you the opportunity to get an absolutely awesome result. And they've done that. 6-2 in that game is not what we would have. Again, we would never have predicted that against the JT-led Iniquity team. Tuscan Control, though, we do know how strong the boys in red are when it comes to this particular map and this particular mode. So a good opportunity to Vitalize to really, you know, they need, it's not like a classic respawn, but they need to get a respawn mode under their belt if they want to take this all the way.
Yeah, I was going to say that Jacko mentioned in the chat. He mentioned in the chat that potential more domination for Vitalize in the search and destroy. So it looks like Jacko has seen very, very good search and destroy tactics and gameplay coming through from those boys himself. So if we've got a potential contender here for one of the best search and destroy teams in the league going through to bracket play, I mean, they call it, Pablo, if search and destroy wins you tournament. And if they can keep this up, and all they've got to do is pinch a respawn, especially if they're that comfortable on pretty much all the maps on Search and Destroy, obviously all 4 of them. We only saw 1 of them there, but I mean, going into the control now, they're probably thinking, right lads, we pinch this one, maybe take the hard point, and then just crack on with Search and Destroy again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you're up against a really good hardpoint side, this is your opportunity right now. If you're Vitalize, you've got to consider that this is as good an opportunity as you're going to get to maybe get this to that map 5. Tuscan Control, you are starting on the less preferred attacking side, but again, it comes down to ticks this time, and we're seeing again this strategy, this push towards B, where they're trying to get picks and trying to get control. They do manage to get a player pushed across, but he is going to be immediately met there. Is he going to get the kill? Vital manages to clean him up, which is going to be super important. If they can get a little bit of control, it's going to do 1 or 2 things. It's either going to allow them to get that tick over towards B, or potentially just get that A down as quickly as possible. And that's huge places. Vital not drops 1, but he absolutely cleans out Destroy and JT there, and that's going to give all the attention over towards that A zone right now. And you can see number 4 Major in Robbie Neville already kind of pushing towards Church, trying to cause as much trouble in the middle of the map as possible. And that gives the team in blue not just that clean kill feed, but a little bit of control of that mid-map area.
And 12 months, the big old year for Mr. Grim. Thank you very much, brother. Hope you are very well. Hope you are well. And Mr. Chuver in the chat as well. How you doing, buddy? But wow, really strong start from Vitalize, especially from Vital. There you go. Starting off with the same letters. And there's another one for Vital. Flies around the corner onto Destroy and just absolutely beams him. So good work there from him. 7-1 at the moment. They've got to be careful. Although the defensive side, Pablo, we know is probably the easier side out of the 2. They're still struggling for lives at the moment as they trail by 5. So they've got to be careful not to give away too many of them. They kind of need to stabilize a little bit here. But Resi straight out of the back just rips the head clean off of Destroy.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an interesting moment right now. You've got your 2 sets of players in Iniquity reasonably well spread. That is a huge kill by Resi. Again, out towards the back. Vital's going to team up and maintain control. And now they've got 2 players over towards that B. Their ticks are going down. You know, ultimately, if they're not able to potentially get the whole thing, just in terms of getting that additional tick to B is going to make it so much easier for them to potentially get that defensive side in Game 5. They are finally dealt with, but again, that tactic so far, especially in a long-term sense, paying off for Vitalize and Major. We're looking at a revitalized side right now.
Yeah, they look very, very good at the moment. 10 lives to the good. All they got to do pretty much is just throw themselves at some of these players. Destroy's going to be on this plat side. Can they manage? Take him down. There's one for him. He's going to get traded out, though, so they are going to work their way down towards those stairs. And JT, that's a really big pick to take down 1, but now first ticks through. They need to take Resi off the point. He's just going to back up with JT with the reads. Good work there from JT. Now, with only 4 lives left, Pablo, they've got to be careful still. I don't really know if this is going to be doable.
Yeah, with 45 seconds left, Iniquity are going to be looking they're heavily on the struggle bus right now, and they've gifted Vitalize an attacking round. If they're able to get these kills, the next few seconds are going to be absolutely important towards the latter parts of this Tuscan control, and it's going to be 2 players remaining facing potentially 10, and you can see how well they're playing together. The trades coming in. Is he going to get tied up on the reload? He is indeed, and that's going to leave Cruel in this awkward position. He manages to clean that player out. He gets chased down in radar, and that's going to be a really, really impressive win for Vitalize Esports, taking an attacking round on Tuscan. And Major, we are starting to see this kind of settled approach. Get some players across over towards B, and if the worst case scenario is they get cleaned out, you're potentially going to have an opportunity to then get that A point down. Man, they did so well on lives, and in particular, obviously, we're seeing Vital on a big carry at the minute, 14-4. Still no streaks though, but again, Iniquity have got to go big now because they are absolutely on the back foot.
Yeah, so strong start there. And this is an interesting tactic here from the boys in red. It looks as though they're going to try and do what they did before, where they bait out players to push over towards B and then try and subsequently flood over towards A. So that's exactly what they're going to do. But JT is going to get taken down. So they've still got the players over towards that A site. And their progression is coming through slowly and steadily as flies around the corner. Another one for Vital. 16 kills at the moment for him alone. More than his entire team combined, plus 5 on top of that. And at the moment, maybe my maths well off. Ignore me. Unless I swear it said 1 for Nico at the bottom. But at the moment, Vitalize, really strong start. And if they can't keep Vital quiet here, Pablo, this is where it starts to get a little bit worrying here, because he is ripping through them at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't seem to be missing. His judgment and his decision making have been flawless so far. 17-6 is an absolutely monstrous scoreline. So early into this, we're still at the very beginning of round 2, with potentially 3 more rounds to go as well. Rest of the boys not doing so bad either, though. Kids never, you take away the fact that Vital's having this incredible game. Again, they're putting up good numbers. Resi does appear to be on the struggle bus a little bit, but not as much as the boys in red across the board. Negative, with the exception of Kez, who's 7-7 and about as close to going negative as possible. Again, lives being the problem for them, but it's so much closer again in this attacking round for Iniquity. But they've got so much work to do. They've got that A-bomb site, but Major, more than anything else, the Vitalize boys have made this a very much kind of mundane, classic, B defense. So this is where the Iniquity have really got to change things up. And when you've got kids beaming with the handgun like that, and as I say, that Kez drops a grenade straight onto his bonds. When you've got Vitalize playing this way, it's potentially going to go to a defensive round, and that's going to put Iniquity under a great deal of pressure for the first time in a while as well, I might add.
Yeah, so they are going to try and work another push here over towards the back tank. JT will go, but you can see Vital just going to be watching this back and to get the kill. Yes, he is. Another kill coming through for Vital. 20 kills in 1.5 rounds. Ooh. And Kids, meanwhile, is just mopping bodies up over towards the left side, over towards Plat. And now Destroyer is going to be the only man really pushed up at the moment as he tries to just reposition and potentially hide himself away. You can see those 2 arrows are just going for the hunt of him. Crawl's going to get spotted though as well. And a man who we know is putting up big numbers for this team at the moment, alongside the likes of JT Pablo. They're really struggling. It just feels as though the firepower on Respawn isn't quite there in this control.
Yeah, absolutely. For you consider that hard point where they were absolutely beamed everyone. Vital goes and gets a huge 3-piece, and Kids, he's gonna reward them with a grenade straight in the back pocket. You get 3, get off the map. I want the kills. He's 14-10. He's not so far behind Vital, but still a good way off. And with 9 seconds remaining, Vitalize have just made Iniquity look like they never won a map 1 whatsoever. 11 lives to 7. This has been an absolute blowout. Finally, they're going to see one player over towards B, but he's going to have to push up and try and get kills, and unfortunately JT is not going to be able to replicate the kind of game that Vital is having right now. Vital has gone absolutely huge, Major. Vitalize go 2-0 up this early into this Tuscan.
Yeah, so wow, very strong start here in the Respawn in map number 3 here for Vitalize. Vitalize really leading the charge at the moment, 24-9, 5 in a row. And the last thing that Iniquity are going to want to do now after a difficult first 2 rounds is give this man a glide bomb as well to work with. So can Vitalize manage to take back-to-back rounds in the control and take this 3-0? So Vital might work his way down through bottom mid. He might get some good timing here. So he has managed to slip his way through. Looks as though they've got a bit of an odd spread here, Pablo. They haven't decided to go for that A site. Vital is obviously kind of just prioritizing underneath this bottom midsection. But there you go, 7 in a row. Now plays it patiently, plays his life, gets the streaks, and now with a glide bomb. Oh no, he doesn't have a glide bomb. Maybe I'm tripping out. He still doesn't have a glide bomb. He's 8 in a row. What's happened to streaks? And I tell you what, though, he doesn't need them. He's just tearing through everyone. Oh, he's going to stop shooting. Oh, man. You hate to see it, but my goodness. Not quite sure why he's not got a glide bomb. Ref? Question mark?
Well, we've had enough patches and enough updates for this game to be almost a different game to the one that we started casting at the very start, less than an hour ago. It would not surprise me. But yeah, this has been a huge performance right now from Iniquity. They are very close to getting A, but again, this is probably a lot better performance from Iniquity. Apologies, I'm completely thrown by the lack of glide bomb. At 28 and 11, Vital must be fuming. Like, why go on a streak if you're not going to get rewarded for it? A is going to get captured by Vitalize. This is a lot more of a classic Tuscan control, though, so I would expect this to go all the way. But right now, the way the Vital and the team in blue are playing, do not be surprised if they completely blow Iniquity out the water. Destroy finally finds his feet, gets onto the back of the tank with the AR, and gets a couple of really important kills. And we're starting to see a little bit of control start to creep back into the game of the Iniquity. And we can see that again as well in the kills. We've got, you know, Destroy earlier on was negative. He's on 17 and 15. Kez is still around and about the same, and the other two players, with the exception of Cruel Major, who's oddly double negative right now. They're just starting to feel their feet, and as I say, that kid's absolutely bought these Cruel to get through. And JT under pressure, it's going to take Destroy. He finally gets dealt with, and the boys in blue are back on B Major. So despite the best efforts, they have still got control of this hill. Yeah,
we're just lurking. Is he going to check the right corner? He is, but Nevo's going to kill him anyways. And there's another kill that comes through as Vital manages to add one to the basket. And now 13 lives remaining for Iniquity. They do lead by 1. So it isn't the end of the world. Oh, Kelsa Rooney, Scotland's finest. Thank you very much, Kelsey. Thank you very much for the sub. Hope you're well, Kelsey. Hope you're well. But Vitalize at the moment. They are now 1 round away. Still lead a couple of lives, though, Iniquity. It just feels as though they're waiting for the calm before the storm. You can see the massive bodies that they've got over towards this plat side as Vital flies through. There's one for Cruel. Kids is going to bag a couple of kills, so they will open the door for a couple of players to push through. But number 3 in the back, Resi, going to try and disrupt a couple of those players. And at the moment, Pablo, 25 seconds left on the clock. They do have Nevo on the point, but you feel if he drops, this is going to be really difficult now.
It is going to be difficult, but let's be honest, they've already got the 4 ticks. Well, they've got the complete ticks from round 1. They've got, well, I think they got 4 ticks from round 1. They completely wiped the team out. They've got round 2 in the bag, and at round 3 they're 6 and 7. So with 15 seconds, it is going to be difficult for them. Cruel does finally take up a good position, manages to get taken down in the end, but this is still going their way. Vitalize wouldn't surprise me if they're still able to get the kind of like preferred sides if it comes down to it. But right now, just looking very solid. Finally, Iniquity have managed to kind of get themselves together. It was very much the kind of mundane Tuscan control performance you expect to see from a defensive side. They still kind of made it look difficult, though, with the pressure coming out of both Resi and Vital at times. It is on Kids is absolutely slaying out as well. It is going to be a lot of pressure and it's the first time we've seen it really. Iniquity have had kind of a pretty easy ride so far in the first 2 games we cast over them, and we did say at the start how much pressure we felt this team from Vitalize could put them under. We thought we were going to have our wits made to eat, but no, not in that sense. But it is going to be the team in red trying to replicate that push all the way through to B.
Yeah, and Kids, there's just been an absolute menace alongside Vital. Another kill potentially for him onto Cruel. If he does spot him, he does. Cruel is just going to transition over. Vital will get taken down, though, but at the moment, Iniquity, they haven't really made much in terms of progress for picking a point. They do have a couple of players over towards the B site, and number 8 in Kez is surely going to bag a kill, and he will. So Destroy all the way out the back he goes. Looks as though Nevo's going to take Kez down here with a nade. So again, fighting for a lot of map control, Pablo, but they don't have anyone on the point at the moment. So with 45 seconds left, they've got to try and pick something quick, because at the moment, they don't really have anything to show for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is again what we talked about in the S&D, where some of their strategies kind of look suspect. They seem to get, once their initial plan kind of falls apart, they kind of fall apart. And again, that's been great control right the way across from Vitalize ESports, managing to get the kills when it matters. And not just that, they've managed to see them off, both A and B. Finally, you're going to see Iniquity get onto that A point and start to get those ticks over. But again, they've left themselves so little time. They're down on life count. Even if they get this A, they're still going to have 1 minute 30, which isn't a great deal of time to work with in order to get B. And if anything, they've left themselves a huge mountain to climb. And when you've got Vital 5 off of 40, you've got Kids 2 off of 30, that is not the place that you want to be. 17 seconds left, Major, and this could potentially see the boys in red go behind in this series.
Yeah, Cruel, I'll tell you what, jeez. breathes a big sigh of relief. They've still got to go through a few more players. So Destroy, though, watching you. Good kill comes through from him. And now they do get that 8-point done. But they still trail by 5 lives. Now JT still struggling at the moment, but does shut down arguably the MVP in this game so far in Vital. Now, can they get this next wave of kills? All it takes is one wave, and they'll pretty much be back to evens again with lives. But Vital out the back managed to take Crawl down. They've got a lot of presence over towards his church side, but all of a sudden, snap your fingers, it is gone as Kids is going to tear through 2 more players. Destroy will get the train. Destroy gets a second as well. He is going to get chased down and dropped. So now with 45 seconds remaining once again, Iniquity Esports is probably going to be the timer, if not lives, as this one slowly starts to come to an end. And Crawl, big kill potentially coming up. And again, Vital at the moment. He's so close to dropping 40 on the bonds of Iniquity Esports at the moment. And it looks as though lives are really ticking away. Him and Kids, they have been absolutely brutal to the boys of Iniquity on this map. And with 20 seconds remaining and nobody currently on the time, this one is looking bleak now for the boys in red.
The argument could be made at 19 seconds that, you know, this was written already in the hardpoint. Despite the loss, the interactions that came out of Vital and Resi alone just showed that they were more than capable of getting into that zone for kills, and they've proved it right now. Kids and Vital going absolutely off. Iniquity, no respawns, 4.8 seconds remaining, and when you see the kill feed go as blue as that, that is going to be a problem for you. And Iniquity go behind in the series, you know, from a team who've been absolutely flying in the Super League. They are now 2-1 down, and we're going to head potentially into a set of maps that might favour the boys in blue.
There's just something about Vitalize and ACCL. They just seem to win.
Absolutely.
There's just always something. It doesn't matter who they've got on the roster. They always seem to win, and this time it's going to be Vital and Kids that are really spearheading this team on Vitalize. And at the moment,
74 kills between the two of them.
I say they just absolutely single-handedly battered the boys of Iniquity just in terms of kills. And just in time, Pablo. Mr. George wants some Pablo C. Do you want me to lead you in?
Oh man, not
cheers, buddy. Suey, Cristiano Ronaldo. Suey. Yeah,
let's go.
Wow. Strong maps there.
Man, I want to see them stats back, because I want to see Vital and Kids as non-traded kills, because I'm sure it was in the 50s. Like, their non-traded kills were like 30 and 31 and 21, which is insane when you think about Tuscan Control. Like, if you're dying 51 times without any response, how do you think you're going to win Tuscan Control? It's impossible.
Yeah, they just look so good on that map. It's so bizarre because map 1, they really struggled in the opening stages of it. They slowly brought it back, but then obviously Nick got it over the line. But at the moment, if you're looking the way maps 2 and 3 have gone, this Vitalize roster is packing one hell of a punch. And at the moment, because JT is incredibly quiet, Kez isn't having a great series either, and Destroy again, by his standards, what we're used to seeing, they're struggling. It's a case of they really need to be firing on all cylinders if they're going to potentially take this one. But they're back on a hard point, so, and I suppose the pacing as well, with Berlin being a bit more structured. You're looking again to the likes of Destroy to be able to kind of command those more power positions as that kind of that main AR role that you would assume that he is currently playing in this team. But at the moment, it's looking very good for the boys in blue. A good regain from them.
I mean, let's be honest, like, you take these players as individuals. We've cast them, you know, playing some of the best players in Europe. They, you know, Kids has been around a number of really decent sides. I've seen him playing with Seed. He's seen him playing with a few other players as well. He's well regarded. And again, you look at Vital, who's just done exactly the same. Literally, you think he would cast them, or at least watched them in challenges in one of the cups most recently. And then you obviously never no slouch either. So in terms of, and we saw that from that, despite the what was essentially an absolute slap on that first Bocage, their kills and their interactions were absolutely insane. Yeah. So if they were able to then get into a position where time isn't a factor, especially in terms of hardpoint, then if they're able to slay like that, they S&D then proved that they absolutely slayed out in S&D. And then in Tuscan Control, it's ridiculous. I think that's the most amount of non-traded kills we've seen from 2 players this season. 50 odd non-traded is mind-boggling to me. And now we're going to go to this Berlin hardpoint, where those 3 players, Resi, Kids and Vital, are firing on all cylinders, absolutely going off. It wouldn't surprise me, even with an MP40, if we see some big numbers go down here. Huge regain needed though for Iniquity. They really do need to put those maps behind them and get back to that form we saw in the first map if they want to stay in this series, because this could quickly just go from being, you know, something where we thought it might be a 3-1 to them to just quickly being a 3-1 to Vitalize. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. We know Vitalize don't have bad teams, they tend to try and get the best players they can, and they usually do quite well. We cast them at the very start of the season, and they looked superb, and they're still looking pretty good now.
Yeah, so map number 4. Our remaining 2 is going to be a double Berlin if we do get a nice cheeky game 5 here, that Friday feeling. Fingers crossed we do get a nice game 5. Obviously, Charlie's not going to be too happy with me saying that the way his team's going at the moment. And obviously, I'm sure Prezi won't want a game 5 for the blood pressure either. But Berlin Hardpoint, Pablo obviously waiting for this one to pretty much get started. But the way the boys at the moment of Vitalize are going, again, looking to the likes of Mr. Vital to have another big map. It's just one where this map can kind of, if you get behind on it, it can be very, very difficult to kind of regain that transition from P2 to P3. We've seen a lot of teams as well starting to command quite a lot of control kind of on that middle hill, that P5, which isn't necessarily an easy thing to do. We saw it at the beginning of the game. A lot of teams were kind of struggling to even get 10, 15 seconds on, but the way that Vitalize are going at the moment, it wouldn't surprise me here if they come out of the gates absolutely flying on this one, and Iniquity really need to pull their finger out early.
Yeah, we've started to see this kind of switch on P5 where there's this kind of L-shaped control where you maintain spawns for the next rotation and you still maintain coverage enough so that you can get a ton of time on P5. Again, if you're up against a pretty even side, expect big contests. One thing we know that really will set the stall for these guys is how well they do on that P2. That transition obviously is important from P2 to P3, but P2 still remains a reasonably contested hill as well. So how well either side do on that could be telling. And again, that P3 to P4 transition, big opportunity for a regain. If you're behind, you know, you've got all that ground you can cover, you can get yourself nice and spread out, chalk P3 and absolutely, you know, you just look to crack on. And again, we do expect that team closest to start to get good side, but this is a worry, you know, straight out the blocks if you're Iniquity, because you know these guys are going to be firing on all cylinders. Kids with the 1-2 piece, and Robbie Nevo already on the kills. It's going to take Cruel to come behind, but already Vitalize has set up. But around the back, we do see the spawns go the way of Iniquity, so major good opportunity for them to get some time on the board if they can get control of the hill as we head to the latter part of this P1 on Berlin Hardpoint.
Yeah, so strong start from the boys in blue. Out the gates, they flying. Kids, I'll tell you what, he's leading the charge 5 in a row now, only a couple away from that glide bomb, but we thought it last time, and it turns out that wasn't the case, so we'll see if he can actually get it with those 7 in a row. There's 6 in a row for Kids. A strong start continues furthermore as he goes on the hunt for that all-important 7th one. Now, Cruel just right. Oh my goodness, turn right, spots him. Surely going to tag him up, Cruel. Is he going to try and play his life a little bit here? He's just going to try and stay alive in the back, but Kids makes him pay, takes him down, and on the right on the bombs of him, takes him down. Yeah, he does finally get his glide bomb. And, the very handsome Irishman here, Mr. Infinity, Mr. Patty Cake, how are we, sir? Thank you very much for the stuff, brother. 3 months. Looks good on you, brother. Thank you very much. And, yeah, Vitalize at the moment, Pablo, they are looking like a real menace at the moment. They just seem to have just clicked into a completely different gear.
Man, you think you come out of the game and you're like, Vital, please stop killing me. He's like, okay, sound. And then Kid steps up and gets a glide. Manages to do what Vital wasn't able to do despite that 8 streak in the previous Tuscan. But they are going to finally get dealt with. But 54 to 16, it's still pretty close. There's still a long way to go. Iniquity are going to potentially get a nice chunk of this scrap time, bring themselves back within about 25. Nice bit of control here from Cruel. He's not able to get the kill. He's going to get taken down by those 2 players. So it just shows how important that accuracy is. And these players from Vitalize looking very tasty until JT goes and gets an absolutely stunning 3-piece there, gets control of this P3, and that's, you know, that's huge right there. We talked about not just, you know, being able to transition effectively, but getting control of this hill can be troublesome at times. And you can see already before you even get a chance to get set up, we've got players rushing through. You can see Kids, you can see Rezi over towards the side, and it's going to be a big amount of work right now for JT to maintain control of this hill.
Yeah, and it was odd seeing JT on an auto. We're so used to seeing him run that SMG role, but it looks as though he's playing the flex at times on this team. And now, big gunfight coming through, but big work there from Destroy to take down one. You can still see they're trying to throw a lot of bodies at this one. There's still 20 seconds on this, and already Vitalize are looking to try and push out their respective lanes. Vital being one of them, takes down Cruel. Good work from him. Is he going to snap onto JT? Yes, he is. And Vital, an important set of kills coming through for him. Destroy, though, over towards the new hill, making the big brain moves as he now gets set up for that next hill. The red arrows are here in vast numbers, Pablo, and you can see those blue arrow spawns all the way over the other side of the map, so they should at least get around 10 to 15 seconds, you'd anticipate, with just the distance that Vitalize have to cover.
Man, they're just so accurate. It's unerring at times. You see kids and Vital just do not miss. They anticipate people's plays so well. I mean, it was really nice to see Destroy get that kill over towards middle. Reads the game so well at times. Destroy is a real pleasure to watch. But again, Rezi's just accuracy is unerring. Manages to get... Iniquity have done well, Major, to get this back to an even game. But again, Iniquity just get chewed through like butter. They're just not able to hold the point. It happened over towards the middle part of that P3, and now on P4 it's happened again, and this is a much easier hill to defend. They've just been absolutely blown away, and that's been a really solid amount of time. That's not a chunk of change. That is 3/4 of that hill that they've given up right there. We do see the kill feed finally go the way of Red, but the question is, Major, have they got what it takes to take any time from P5 right now?
Yeah, they do have Kez up in towards the top of third, but Rezi's just going to rip him clean out of that, so that's going to fall short of expectation. But now Vital again just going on the free roam, hunting down some potential more engagements. Fire onto the hill, doesn't check the corner though. Still see JT soaking up the time while all this madness is going on. Kez is going to take down one man in Vital. Kids will fall as well, so they do get crawled back on towards the hill to stoke up some important time. But look at the bullets flying through at Kez there. As he panic shots just to the side of him. Nades are going to come through as well as they try and get him out of this power position. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. The man on the hill in crawl will fall. You can already see though, Pablo, that those blue arrows already thinking for the next hill. Number 6 in Kids. Important gunfight in the back with JT holds strong. And it looks as though those red arrows, they are going to at least hold that fireside ready for P1. But still 15 seconds left, so they've at least got one potential last go at this one, Vitalize, to try and force a bit of a rotational play here.
I mean, the main job you're going to do, especially on this P5, if you can't get time, just do what you can to contest and force the other team to not be able to get time. Right now, not watching their flanks, it is going to be Vital who manages to sneak in through fire, so they're going to have to watch a number of pushes from a number of angles, although the boys from Vitalize decide not to coordinate that push, which might just play into the hands. It does look like they've changed their minds and decided maybe to get that. But that's a huge kill right there from JT. Manages to get the kill over towards backfire, drops that player. We see the kill feed go red. An advantage now with Iniquity playing like the team that we usually see them play. I do see that player drop down, and they've maintained control now for a really nice portion of time, got themselves a 20-second lead, and we talk about this Berlin potentially being their kind of map. Well, it does finally look like they've decided to start playing it in that kind of Iniquity way, but Vitalize still looking very strong, and the worrying factor, Major, for me is that Vital is so very, very quiet. I think if he suddenly starts to come good, this could be a problem for the team in red.
Yeah, well, at least Kids is firing on all cylinders again. Yeah, in the control, he was doing well. He's doing well here. And Crawl 6 in a row now, 1 away from a glide bomb. And important kills coming through now for Iniquity as they slowly start to hit in towards a different gear now. We'll stay on board here with Crawl, see if he can get those all-important streaks. Needs one more. Rezi's going to spot him. He's going to tag him up. Going to do the smart thing, though, and play his life, as there are going to be a few more bodies around him on this outer lane. Are they going to check the right corner, though? Opens the door. Is it going to be 7 for Crawl? Yes, it is. Good work from him. And Kez is combining for 11 now, as he's managed to work 4 in a row. And again, Kez just doing what he does, soaking up the hill time. And at the moment, Iniquity at the moment, Pablo, they're looking pretty strong. They've got, obviously, a couple of players ready for the next hill as well. Destroy is going to try and work his way in to help his teammates out. But you can see the spawner Kez over towards that next hill. So with 25 seconds left, this is where Vitalize have got to think, right, we cleaned out the hill. Now we need to get ready for new.
Well, this is the conversation we had before the game. This is, you know, that P2 hill is normally a really contested hill, and they've managed to lose quite a lot of time to Vitalize, who are going to take a small lead. And again, the problem for them right now is that they got cut through on this P3. They got absolutely annihilated in the previous rotation. JT wasn't able to hold it for long enough, and you pointed out, you know, maybe with the AR not playing his natural game, he doesn't necessarily, you know, we know he's a clever player, but if it's not your natural game, are you going to take up the correct positions? Are you going to read things correctly? And right now, Vitalize look like they're going to get the push. This is going to be a big moment for Kez. Kez not able to drop that, as we see Rezi and Kids go big, and that's going to give them that opportunity to not just get spawns, but they get onto the kill, and that's what we talked about from the previous rotation. That P2 to P3 is vital if you want to win this Berlin hardpoint. Advantage, you know, despite the heroics of Iniquity, it's advantage Vitalize one more time.
Big kills, though, from Destroying. They're calling in the glide bomb. Crawl wants to use it now and get this man out the hill. There isn't going to be anyone in, so they are going to manage to force their way in. Subsequently, though, Vitalize, they will now have free reign to rotate over towards the new hill, down through Ticket. And number 1, though, Crawl, he's already going to be over here. Looks as though, oh, he's going to get spotted. He's been spotted. He'll do well to stay alive here. Oh, manages to take Vital down, but the trade will be there. But that scrap time going to pretty much bring Iniquity back to even. But now the blue arrows, they are ready to go for the next hill. And again, We saw this on the flip side, Pablo. Vitalize last time had to leg it over towards this P4, but now it's the boys of Iniquity.
And I would suggest the Vitalize potentially going to have a much easier time in terms of defense. They've got players pushed quite well forward. It looks like they've got players ready to read any push from behind. We've got number 1 there in Cruel. He's about to try and take a more unusual position, but it's going to be spawns going the way of the team in red. And this is a big opportunity for them, not just to get those kills, but to get in a really good amount of time. But that is a huge kill from Rezi. As we talk about it time and time again, if you're not able to get on the kill, at least make sure that your opposition aren't able to do it as well, and that is absolutely example of that right there. And Kids and Rezi teaming up to do absolute bits right now. And at 190 to 173, Major, that could be an absolutely defining moment of this game. In that Vitalize weren't initially able to get any time. They pushed Iniquity out, finally able to get onto the hill, but they've made this a 10-second kill. This P4, which is normally so straightforward to defend, the boys in blue have made it, you know, they're only going to be able to get tied up, which is great play from them.
Yeah, the worrying thing for Iniquity is that they don't have control of the top of third, and Rezi now does, so this is going to be difficult to break. They've got the man on the hill, but a big kill comes through from Destroy. Manages to take him down. You can see Kids has nothing more to do with the hill as he just dips out, and Destroy's going to manage to mop up another kill as well. Vital is going to be lurking, though. Can he make the play that he needs to? There's one for him. Destroy, though, again, is going to be the immovable object as he's just going to drop down and potentially fly onto a couple of players. There's one kill that comes through, though, for Rezi to shut him down, and now Vitalize past that 200-point mark. This is where it gets difficult for Iniquity. They need to try and at least have some bodies to contest the hill, but another big gunfight comes through. It's actually going to be Destroy this time that team kills. So although Iniquity have got the next rotation over towards that hill, the kills are going to potentially favour Vitalize. Saying that, though, Kids is just going to land a grenade in his own teammate's back pocket, as we've seen quite a few of those from Vitalize, actually, just helping the boys out. But at the moment, Iniquity, you can see they are really banking on this next rotation. They've got to be careful because Kids is here. Oh, never mind.
Never mind, as JT and Kez absolutely deal with them. Big moment, though, as we do see the boys in Iniquity desperately need to get a really solid chunk of time. From the outset, they haven't really been able to control a kill effectively. They've constantly been pushed, pressured, and prodded in all the right places. But right now, this is about as big a hill as you're likely to see in the Iniquity game. If they're able to get this, keep hold of it, this could potentially push this game out to a game 5. But unfortunately for them, Vitalize are able to get right back in. Destroy needs to go big right now. Not enough bullets in that auto. Vital is on a 3 streak as well, and this is huge moments as Rezi on the 7 is going to bring the glide out almost immediately. That's going to push the entire team indoors, and that means that they're going to able to just get that kill in with 7 seconds remaining. It is looking very much like this is going to be a Vitalize 3-1. No heroics left in the tank, Major. That is a huge victory for Vitalize Esports there.
Yeah, really good map from Vitalize. They dropped the first hard point. They didn't drop that one, though, and they will take the series in a 3-1 fashion. Map 2, 3, and 4 was very convincing from those boys. Obviously, Iniquity had a strong map 1, but we'll see the heroics here at Kez at the end, just chewing through players as, again, 32 and 23. I think if you're looking at a standout player consistently, obviously, Vital had a very good map, Pablo, but to be fair, teammate had probably the more consistent performance. Kids did very well in a huge chunk of those maps, and now his team have the win to walk away with.
Well, you got to look map 1. Obviously, Vital and Rezi had a great map 1, but they got beaten. There was some really nice performances across the board from Iniquity, but then Kids really came into his own in that map 2 S&D, where I think he went 8-2 in the end, or 8-3 in the end. He had a really good performance, and it largely in part to him that they were able to take that blockage so kind of elegantly in the end with some a really notable 3-piece. So I think it might have even been round 4 at that point. But then we go into the Tuscan control, and obviously between Kids and Vital, huge play. We're talking about that 51 non-traded kills, and they're able to take that 3-1. And then Kids again with that not just consistency, but getting huge kills in that 250 to 199 Berlin. Huge regain from the outset where they looked like they were going to be under the cosh. Blockage turns out to still be the outlier map, Major, and that is a huge performance from Vitalize Esports.
Yeah, so big win there coming through from those boys. I think that means they top the group, if I'm not mistaken. We obviously will just have to get confirmation of it, but regardless, Vitalize Esports go powering through once again in the ACCL. It's just something that you come to expect now, really, with Vitalize, regardless of who's on the team. They're usually in the later stages of the ACCL, whatever. So good work there from those boys. But that is going to be it from myself and Pablo, guys. If you could hop on the raid for Mr. Tree Cod, a very good friend of mine, and he's just getting back into streaming. So if you could hop onto the raid, show him a bit of love. Hopefully me and Pablo will be back sooner rather than later this time with some more ACCL action. Obviously with the Rocker games going on the weekend, we'll be keeping an eye on all the EU talent and hopefully get to see some more of it in action over the weekend. But thank you very much for tuning in, guys. That is going to be it from us. GG's there, both the boys of Iniquity and Vitalize, and we will see you guys later for some more Call of Duty action. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.